please hit that subscribe button.
Hey everybody.
Better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about the Carolina Hurricanes as I continue my 3 Reasons Why series. And in this video, I will be giving you 3 reasons why the Carolina Hurricanes will make the playoffs this year and 1 reason why they will not. Before I get into it, I just quickly want to ask that you please hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Both of those things greatly help out and are very much appreciated. So let's get into it here. Carolina, number 1 reason the Carolina Hurricanes will make the playoffs this year is their trade deadline. I had Carolina the biggest winners of the 2020 trade deadline. Adding Vincent Trocheck into that top 6, adding Brady Shea to the back end, adding Sami Vatanen to the back end. They had a really, really good trade deadline. I thought they were huge winners of that. They improved their team. And now you look at that roster in Carolina. They're talented up front. They've got an incredibly good D-core. There's no reason for them not to be a playoff team. They should be a playoff team this year. They're currently 3 points out, but they have games in hand on most of the teams that they are up against fighting for position with. So that's going to help. Their trade deadline, though, is absolutely outstanding. I think they significantly improved the team. And I see them, that should be a big reason why that they get into the postseason this year. That D-core is absolutely unreal now with the additions of Shea and Vatanen. Obviously, Vatanen's currently injured right now. Pesce's out injured now. They do have some injury issues, which is not allowing that lineup to be at full strength and us to see how good this team could be with a fully healthy lineup. But even with the injuries, they've got a really talented group. And I think they improved it and made it even better at the trade deadline. So that's I think a big reason why they will get into the playoffs this year. Number 2, what I just talked about, games in hand. Carolina has a significant amount of games in hand on some teams, a few games in hand on others, but they have only played 64 games so far this season, which I believe is tied for the fewest in the league. So Columbus, who currently holds the number 2 wildcard spot and is 3 points ahead of Carolina, has played 67 games. Carolina has 3 games in hand on Columbus. They only have to make up 3 points in those 3 games to take that playoff spot away. I think those games in hand are going to come in clutch down the stretch for the Hurricanes and give them more of an opportunity to win games and more of an opportunity to get into a playoff spot and take one of those wild card spots away from a team that's currently holding them. You look at some other teams. The Islanders have also only played 64 games, and Pittsburgh as well. So Carolina, it does have some company there at 64. But like I said, Columbus has played 67. The Rangers have played 65. Florida's played 66. So Carolina has games in hand, at least 1 or 2 on all of those teams. And that is going to help them very much down the stretch, I believe. And finally, the number 3 reason why I think the Carolina Hurricanes make the playoffs this year, their goal differential. They are plus 24 goal differential right now, which is absolutely fantastic. That's a very good sign, very promising for their playoff chances, because that means they are scoring a lot more goals than they are giving up. And if you score more goals than your opponent, that you win the game. So that is going to lead to wins. That goal differential is a good sign. It's going to lead to wins down the stretch. They're in good shape. Generally, teams with a plus 20 goal differential or better do not miss the playoffs. It just doesn't really happen. And Carolina right now is in good shape at plus 24. I think as those games in hand play out, and they pick up more wins here headed down the stretch, and as long as that goal differential stays as high as it is, I think Carolina definitely gets into the postseason. And it's a very promising stat for them, because we see teams currently in playoff spots with much worse goal differentials. Columbus is -4. New York Islanders are only +6, whereas Carolina's +24. If you head over to the Western Conference, Calgary's -5, Nashville's -5. and they're in playoff spots. Edmonton's only +8, but they're in a playoff spot out west. I mean, you see teams with significantly worse goal differentials holding playoff spots. Meanwhile, Carolina with a +24 somehow right now is not in a playoff spot. I think as the season goes along, those games in hand are played, and things really kind of even themselves out by the end of the season, that +24 goal differential is going to be a good thing for Carolina and going to be very promising for their playoff chances, as long as they keep it up, obviously. So those are the three reasons I think Carolina does make the playoffs. They had a great trade deadline. They've got games in hand over their opponents, and they have a fantastic goal differential, which eventually is going to lead to more wins. Now here's the one reason I think Carolina might miss the playoffs: goaltending. Goaltending's been a question mark for them all season long. There was questions about it going into the season. Could Peter Mrazek repeat the season that he had last year? McElhaney's gone as the backup, and James Reimer was brought in. How is Reimer going to play? Reimer's actually had a very good season backing up Mrazek this year for the Hurricanes. Problem is, right now, Peter Mrazek and James Reimer are both injured. They are both out. They have not played since that game against Toronto, the famous David Ayers emergency goalie game. Neither of them have played since then on February 22nd. They're both currently out injured. They're relying heavily on their minor league goalies to come up now and have to play at the NHL level here. Neither one of them have put up really good numbers in their starts. They haven't won a game yet. Forsberg or Nedeljkovic have not been able to win a game yet. Both of them have goals against that are very high. Both of them have save percentages that are pretty low, under 900. They need Mrazek and Reimer back. That's going to be a huge issue for them. If those guys don't get back here soon, like very soon, that's going to be a huge problem for Carolina. They need Mrazek and Reimer back. If those guys come back, I think Carolina definitely gets into the playoffs. If those guys are going to miss another 2-3 weeks, we could see a serious problem here for the Carolina Hurricanes. But that's the biggest question mark, I think, with this team, and the biggest thing that could keep them out of the playoffs. It's goaltending, and that's an issue for them. So there you have it, guys. My 3 reasons why video for Carolina. The 3 reasons they do get into the playoffs: trade deadline, games in hand, and goal differential. One thing that might keep them out is their goaltending, and we'll see if they can get Reimer and Mrazek back healthy here and playing at a high level. If I had to make a prediction, I do think Carolina gets into the postseason. I do think they're a playoff team. I think they're going to be a wild card team. I don't really see them going any higher than that. But I do think that they make the playoffs. I think it's very likely that they knock probably Columbus out of that last playoff spot in the East. And I do see Carolina playing in the playoffs. And let me tell you guys, if Carolina does get in, this is not a team I would want to face in the first round. I mean, we saw them knock off Washington last year in the first round. This is a scary team to have to play. This is not an easy matchup. This is not a team I would want to face in the first round. I think they could give whoever they play, whether it's Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington again, whoever they end up playing, I think they could give them a serious run for their money and make it a real tough series in the first round as a wild card team, as they did last year. So we'll see what happens. My prediction is that they do make the playoffs. I think this team is too talented and too good not to be in the postseason. Goaltending's the biggest question mark, but if they can figure that out, they're going to be in the playoffs this year again. So with that, guys, that's my opinion. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.